What's up, family? Joseph Baba Ifa, and I am late. What's going on, Phil?
Oh, how could you? I had to impersonate you in the comments.
I'm sure you did a wonderful job. I could easily impersonate you unless I had to work a camera.
So yeah, hey man, welcome. It's been a little bit. I'm glad to see you, brother.
Oh man, it's always a joyous moment when we're able to reunite, Philip. Yeah, life's been good, man. Just working a lot, a lot of things going on at home. So, lots of blessings, man. Just trying to keep up.
Just a heads up.
Yes, sir.
What I did, we are live to everybody.
Nice.
So be mad at me if
No,
you didn't want it to be.
No, this is wonderful.
It's been a while, so why not? We need to give it to the people. So I want everybody, if you are in the chat, we've already had a lot of comments so far.
Awesome.
So say hi, say where you're from.
Please.
This is a live Q&A. Ask your questions, and always remember this does get a little congested sometimes.
Sure.
So super chats are obviously welcome. And also do not forget, right after this live, we are going to be going live again just for the VIPs.
And you want to be in that one, definitely. We got some big news
A
for you
major
guys.
announcement.
Major. So if you consider yourself part of this family, part of this community, you definitely want to be in the membership program before we go ahead and launch that live, because we got some big stuff to announce.
Yep. All right. So it looks like we already got a super chat. Hold on.
Oh gosh, here we go.
I need to get my music ready.
And things started off right.
You want the harp or the DJ horn?
I'm feeling DJ horn today.
All right, here we go.
More fire. Ogumbi, what's going on, brother? My Odu of the knife is Irete and Telu. Any information? Anytime you pull a leg of Obbe in the Kwanado process, it makes reference to the knife. Obbe, one of the translations loosely is the knife, right? So when you break down the name Irete, Obbe means the blessing came quick with the knife. So I definitely think it's a confirmation of the process you just went through. Beautiful Odu. The mysteries of Iba Odu are there. It's a really grandiose sign. It's one to live up to. But probably the most important deity there is Eshu. Even though I know you're a child of Ogun, Eshu's the big guy there. It speaks of the initiation process for the children of Eshu, why Eshu has 21 shells, etc. I'm sure all that information was relayed to you, but it speaks of the importance of studying Ifa, understanding it, and now with all of your tools, practicing it, because Iredentelu is saying that the person has to, be somebody that's around the masses. It's known as an Odu of tumultuousness. In the negative, you want to make sure you're not around the wrong people, but in the positive, you could end up being around some really great people. So now that you're fulfilled to a certain degree, hit the books, learn your processes, and let's open up practice and shop.
All right. So I asked earlier to say where you're from. We got people from the UK.
Oh, man, yeah. I want to go to London so bad. Yeah. I don't know if I've told you that before, Phil.
Poland?
Oh, man. Absolutely. That's awesome.
Houston, Texas?
Oh, yeah, my godson Nacho. Blessings, Bobby.
SoCal?
Oh, man, that's awesome. California is on my hit list, too.
Yeah. Richie Conga dropped a $5 super chat.
Oh, blessings.
It doesn't put the emojis in the text, but that's a Shiba dog clapping his hands.
Thank you very much. Yeah, Richie, be sure to email the Botanica so we can get you an episode, brother, for sure. Thank you so much for your patience.
Okay, here we go. We got with
Nemor, question. What are your thoughts on Nana Buruku, and have you ever done a video on her? Yes, we have done a video on her. I'm not sure if we've done a podcast on her, but if you look up Nana Buruku, Joseph Baba Ifa, we made a video, I think, before me and Phil hooked up.
That means we gotta do it again.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do another one for sure. Get some new information on her.
Can I make fun of you really quick before you continue?
Oh, Phil, you're poking at me. I don't know. I feel like a bear.
You tried to go live before you left the house.
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know, brother. I don't know. God bless Puerto. Yeah, man. We were just trying to get some activity before. I think that's what spurred this super live.
Yeah.
But it was basically, I could imagine how I looked with no audio. But it's so funny because I had done a food to the witches or the elders, and so the oak tree in front of my house was full of vultures. And, that's my favorite animal, really, besides, like, the leopard, the sloth. It was, I think, an icon for me as well. But it was full, and I was like, this would be a nice moment and whatnot, but YouTube wasn't cooperating. It's either with Phil or nothing, I guess.
I guess that's what the Orishas want.
That's what it wanted. So with Nana Buruku, I think she's great. One of the Odus that speaks about her is mine. She has a lot to do with stability of the home, matrimony, Some people say she was the first female Orisha. I actually had a comment recently on the channel that says she's also a very worshipped deity in Ghana as well. So she's all over the place. She's amazing. She's really old. She's really ancestral. I've heard of people crowning her direct, which I think is great because it is real. So I think she's great.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. We got a lot of comments coming in, guys. So
that's
keep
wonderful.
on letting them come, and then we'll try to get to them. But if you don't answer them, we will be going live again for the VIP. So make sure if you haven't joined to join
in the membership
now.
program, guys. It's
All right.
the best.
Here we go.
Mr. Christopher Mora, I received Odu at 21 and have heard mixed emotions about me receiving Odu at a young age. What's your take on this? One of the things I've always had an issue with is when religion tries to over influence aspects of people's personal lives. And, without getting too, in detail or crude, because there's women and uninitiated people here on the live, receiving Odu at that age is not an issue. Because at the end of the day, when you live morally outside of your preferences or whatnot, I mean, there's really no issue when it comes to Odudua. They only say that because they say at the age of 21 or before the age of 40, which the old guys used to wait that long to give somebody Odudua, was that you didn't know how to live morally, or within certain contexts, or to be able to uphold certain requirements or negate certain desires that you may have. Which is all pretty ridiculous, in my opinion. At the end of the day, you live morally, you treat people well, you're not doing anything outside of anybody's comfort zone per se. I mean, it's really not an issue. So enjoy Odudua, attend to him, learn about him, understand him, because he's probably one of the most particular Orishas in the whole, cosmology of Ifa.
All right, so this one is super long. So hold on, let me go to. Hold on, I have to pull it up on my screen here.
Awesome.
It's from Kuku Manui.
Okay.
They're from Poland.
Very nice.
All right. They asked a lot. Okay, the question is not on my screen, but it's on the other screen.
I'm not seeing it on mine.
Yeah, hang on.
Okay.
What the heck? Unless they deleted it.
Oh, no.
Trinity. All right, here we go. This is from. I'll come back to your stuff, Kuku. Hold on.
Awesome.
Trinity.
Trinity Young, blessings, Godson, bendiciones. Boveda versus Egungun icon. Different courts of Egungun as they relate to Ifa, and what should the son of Shango know about receiving Egungun? So the Boveda versus Egungun, right? The Boveda is nothing more than an extension of the Egungun icon to a certain degree. The central ancestral icon and shrine, or Ibale, or Ojubo, however you want to call it, is the Egungun, or the Isang Egungun. The Boveda is a new world spiritist expression of that is completely focused on elevation, meditation, and enlightenment, right? So you're not going to really put food offerings or anything too rustic on there. Usually water, flowers, candles, and perfume. So that's going to be the difference where, Boveda is going to be strictly meditation. Egungun is going to be much more rustic with blood sacrifices, food, things that are more earthly, right, or earthy. When we talk about what the son of Shango should know before receiving Egungun, is it's going to benefit him totally. He's actually part of Egungun's family. Some people say he was Egungun's father. Some people say he was Egungun's stepfather. But it's probably one of the most important deities that the son of Shango is ever going to receive, because Shango gifted Egungun a couple things. He gifted him the red cloth, or the royal insignia of the Oyo family and the Koso family. He also gave him the Bata drum, where Bata really belongs to Shango, but he gave it to his son Egungun as well. Where all the other Orishas have their own drums, technically, Egungun, Bata belongs to Shango and Egungun. What was the other part of his question? He said, the son of Shango, what should he know?
What should he know about receiving Egungun? Yeah.
We did that, the Boveda versus Egungun, but the
different courts of Egungun as they relate to Ifa?
There are different Egunguns, but that's more of a clan thing. Remember that even the Orishas are Egungun. They're deified ancestors. They're just on a whole nother level because they were there at the beginning. They've elevated to a point that's, I don't know. But as far as like courts, like if you're speaking about like the Indian, like the Native American spirits, or the Gypsy spirits and things, they're all there. There's really not one more than the other per se. Now there are certain Egunguns that have to do with certain Orishas. Like Orumila has a very specific Egungun. Shango has a specific Egungun by a different name. But that's a little more entrenched, and that's a little more clan based, and it's a little. For somebody that's just receiving the Egungun icon up front, it's a little too particular, when really what you should be focusing on initially is just, creating good habits and making sure you're hitting your marks and things like that.
Okay, here we go.
Borui Boya or Chetrupong. What do the three Itas of Ifa mean to you? Okay, so in the Odu Obbe was where Orumila offered the sacrifice of 3 she-goats, right? Or Eure Meta. And because of it, Olodumare said, I'm going to give you 3 conversations to help you understand yourself better, right? So the first Ita, which is your Itefa, like, the actual, sign that you are is who you are. That is the umbrella of your life. Everything else falls below that, right? So in your case, I would imagine Oshethrupong, right? The Ita or the Yikota, depending on your tradition, represents 2 separate things. So in Isheshe, that's simply seen as you're reading for that first year of Ifa, right? For us in Lukumi, it's seen as how you live, right? So it's kind of the Odu that your Ifa birthed, because technically, if your first sign is who Odu identifies you as, your Ida is, basically who Orumila is saying he is a manifestation of you within being Babalawo. And then the last sign, which is the Ijoye or the Yodye as it's known, where we get beat down with sticks, is known as the sign of title, right? Or the day of title. And basically what that Odu represents is how the world is going to treat you, right? Or how you're going to be received. Because if you notice, it's identified on the same day we return to the world, on the 7th day. And, we get beat down, kind of reiterating, we swear to save humanity, but humanity is actually our worst enemy. Some people would say it's how you die. I don't know about that. I mean, only God knows when we're going. Being that he controls the sacred breath known as Emi within our bodies and the spirituality that lives within the heart. So that's kind of what I've been able to deduce up until this different point, where the first sign has to do, basically with Odu and who you are and your, correlationship with her. The second sign has a lot to do with Orumila. And then the third sign, they say has a lot to do with Odudua, kind of like the sentencing. So that's what I've been able to deduce over my studies.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, super chat. Joven Kronos, thank you so much. Can you speak on the Odu Ofun Yemilo for the child of Elegua? Ofun Yekun is definitely an Odu where the person has to prepare themselves and study quite a bit, because he's known as the king of the funeral rites, or the Itudu. It's somebody that is going to be able to ascend quite a bit within the religion or the spirituality of Ifa if they study and prepare themselves and make good relationships. But they have to be very careful, because with that preparation comes a lot of envy and misunderstanding from those around them. So you have to make sure you prepare yourself well so that you're always able to protect yourself and your family. It's an Odu of independence where the person has to grow and not, depend upon people or allow themselves to be coddled, because it speaks about, relationships with the parents, trying to, constantly do things for the person, kind of hindering their own progress. If something's always done for us, it makes it difficult for us to be able to do it for ourselves. So Ofun Yemilo speaks of the person having a very regal trajectory within Ifa, where they can become fully independent, be somebody of influence, an inspiration to others. But if we allow ourselves to always kind of receive, we never do.
Okay. You got another super chat, but
Very nice.
It hasn't populated yet.
Okay.
I'll let you know when it comes.
Well, thank you.
Yep. Okay, here we go.
TJ, can you give me a story on someone born under the Odu of Osa Ogbe? It's so funny. One of my godsons actually messaged me this morning about this Odu, and there's actually a pataki where I think he told me, and I've read it years ago, but it speaks of the war between the Igere clan and the Arara clan, right? And he was actually asking me, who are the Igere people and whatnot, and I couldn't really come up with an explanation for him other than possibly the information within our Lukumi text was possibly, grammatically errored. But the Arara people make reference to the people in Dahomey, right? Benin, etc. And it speaks of when they were clashing, and I believe the Igere people went for divination. In Osalafo where Osalafo was revealed, where Ifa told them to make sacrifice to Shango in a very particular fashion, and Shango aided them in being able to defend themselves against basically the Arara marauders, right? So that Odu of Osa Ogbe, unfortunately, is one of a lot of conflict where the person has to be very careful to not have their rights infringed upon. So you have to be vigilant and make sure you're spiritually active so that you can avoid situations like that altogether before it gets to the point of war and conflict. But Shango is as important as Eshu in that Odu. The majority of the people I've seen born under that Odu are actually children of Shango, and the others have been children of Eshu. So those are probably the two most important deities in that Odu. So Shango's big, Eshu is very big, and it's just very important to stay on top of your things so you can avoid conflict. And you don't want to be a conflicted person altogether in that Odu, because Osalafobeo is one of the Odus where bipolarity was born. So you have to make sure that you try to maintain a consistent character so that you don't become frustrated with yourself, and that frustration bleed on to, the people around you.
All right, we got that super chat.
Nice. Horns.
It's from
Queen. Queen, thank you so much, man. Odu Obbe, Dafa Odu, Osa, I would imagine Okana. Ayewo, keep up the good work, fam. Okay, so with Osakana and Ayewo, the big thing there is Egun. Making sure that we're up to par and attending to our Egungun altar all the ways that we know how. That's one of the first Odus actually where Egungun consumed elede, or pig. So it speaks very heavily of, Egungun wanting certain things and being able to attend to them in the fashion that they desire, to be able to open things up for you so that you can see that progress. So Egungun has to be your priority for sure. In that sign, you actually put pork to Egungun, so that might be one of the things that I recommend to kind of open things up. If I recall, you're a daughter of Yemaya or Lokun. So pork is very big. So, all those ancestral spirits that walk with you, they might be asking for that at this moment. Whether it's fried, whether it's raw, whatever you feel comfortable with. Cracklings, which I try to stay away from, but I'm a huge fan of. And things like that. But Osakana speaks of the importance of, aligning with your ancestors, whether they be via Orisha or blood.
All right, here we go. Another one.
Oh my gosh. Not playing today. Aburu Aboye Aboshishe Abuado. Can you share on the Odu Ika Yekun as a life path and as it relates to Egungun priesthood? Very nice name. Awoifajide. So beautiful. Well, my brother, Ika Yekun is one of the first Odus, if not the first, where Egungun consumed sacrifices, whether it was Adimu or Ebotutu or Eboeje or blood sacrifices. In this sign, it speaks about Pataki, where we weren't making offerings to our ancestors, and Iku, or death, wasn't consuming things in a coherent fashion where it was kind of haphazard. And divination was performed where Ika Yekun was revealed, where Orumila told them that they needed to make sacrifices to be able to mitigate all these energies and have them under control and harmonize so that it could benefit the community. And when they did this, everything kind of calmed down. So Ika Yekun is one of those people. I mean, once they prepare themselves, I recommend all Bawalawo brothers feed Eshu once a month. But Ika Yekun is one of those people that might have to feed Egungun once a month, a blood sacrifice, depending on your means and depending on your preparation and schedule. But you definitely want to do it more frequently than everybody else, where the random person might feed Egungun once a year. I would say bare minimum once every 3 months, you need to be hitting Egungun up, because, it's one of the, it's a very vociferous appetite in that Odu, where Egungun constantly wanted to be fed. So it's very important for you to specialize in all the things that have to do with Egungun, and you actually entering into Egungun priesthood is probably the most ideal, because of that, you're going to be able to interact that much more intimately with that icon, and it's just going to benefit you all the way around. But another thing that was born in Ika Yekun was the Tutu, at least the way we have it, which is the funeral rites, so all of those themes are in Ika Yekun. So congratulations on the Egungun priesthood, and as long as you specialize in Egungun and understand it and know how to manifest it properly, you're going to be blessed any day. No questions asked. Thank you for the super chat, brother.
All right. Take a hydration break.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, guys. Make sure
running me ragged.
Make sure directly after this video, we are having a VIP episode where we have a gigantic announcement that we think all the members would love to hear. So join our membership platform, and it's going to be incredibly fun. But while Joseph is taking some water, we got another super chat.
Oh my God! Here we go.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. Milan, thank you so much. Can you speak on the Odu Ojuani Irete? And what are your thoughts on someone receiving Santo even though they aren't required to? Owani Irete is awesome. It's also known as Owani Ogede, because in that sign, bananas had to be offered to the various orishas that the person had, to kind of quench their appetite, kind of calm it, and then at the same time bring prosperity and whatnot, because that's an Odu that has a lot to do with the Orisha Aje. And that's one of her preferred offerings, right? So definitely bananas have to be offered to your Orishas. Whether it's in that Odu or any other Odu, I'm definitely not a fan of somebody doing Orisha if it's not necessary or if they don't want to. And that's usually where necessity comes in. Do you want to take this monumental step or do you not? If you don't, that's perfectly fine. With your hand of Ifa, you'll be able to lead a perfectly fulfilled, fulfilling life. You know, we don't have to do Orisha to have the best life possible, but we do need to have Orula. But if the person wants to add to it, to their experience, please do. But definitely, if you're not, if you don't want to, there's no reason to do it.
I think we got a new one that just came in.
Oh my gosh.
I can't tell. Hold on. I'll leave it anyway. Here we go.
Nice. All right, Keys. Thank you. Iboruboya. My Odu is Obarawani. I'm a child of Shango. Can you explain it a little? Thank you so much for the confidence. One of the most important deities that you're ever going to receive is Egungun, right? Because in that sign was where Egungun wouldn't pay attention to Shango or give homage to Shango. And because of it, Shango would always throw lightning bolts at Egungun. And this was an issue because Egungun is made out of wood. It's also where the lightning rod was born. And if you look at Isang Egungun, it's like a prehistoric lightning rod. So in that Odu, Orumila performed divination for Egungun, where Obarawani was revealed. It's where Egungun went through Idosu, or the initiation rites, making him Orisha. It's where Egungun became Orisha. In some versions, he made offerings to Shango and they found peace. In others, he didn't. And through his initiation process, he was able to withstand the lightning strikes from Shango, where Shango respected him and acknowledged him. It says that the person should initiate into Shango there because that's one of the first Odus where people first started coming into trance with the Orisha Shango, right? It says that the person by nature is going to be Elegun, which means he who carries the spirit, where the person has a high propensity to come into trance, whether it's through spiritism, Egungun initiation, or worship, or ultimately Shango. So, awesome Odu. Big fan of Obarawani.
One more again.
Oh my gosh. We need to do this more often. We're working to it. We got to do this. Ogumbi, my man. I received my Ifa name, Awo Ifa Abara Obong. Awesome. What is your interpretation of this name? So Obong means wisdom. Agbara means elder, right? So if we say Awo Ifa, the priest of Ifa, Abara is the elder of the people, Obong who have knowledge. So it's basically making reference to knowledge and wisdom and things like that. Beautiful name. First time I've heard that name, but it's very coherent. So awesome name, brother. Congratulations. There's plenty of lineages that do the name in the Guanado. So definitely good.
You know what I need? I need a DJ Khaled sound effect that says another one.
Another one. We also need the one that says you don't play yourself. We need that one too. Right? Uber John, my man. Odu Obbe. Can you speak on the life path of Ogunda Meyi and how to live the Odu?
Hold on. He's got another one too.
Oh,
wait, hold on. Where'd this one go? I don't know.
I see on the bottom. Ofunche, child of Ogun.
Oh, that's just him responding to that. Okay.
Okay, so that's the one we're going with. The one on the bottom.
Yep.
Okay, beautiful. Ofunche, child of Ogun. Ofunche, in general, states that the person cannot become stagnant. Whether it's with their Ifa study or anything else, from an academic standpoint, the person has to constantly be learning and open to criticism. Ogun is not a deity that speaks heavily there. So if you're eligible and want to become Babalawo, I recommend it because Ofunche is also one of the residents of the Garden of Power known as Obashe, right? It's one of the only 16 Odus that when you flip it, it becomes the opposite. So when you flip Ofunche upside down, it becomes Oshefung. I'm also one of the residents of that garden. When you flip Irete Otura, it becomes Otura Irete. So if the person's eligible, they should become Babalawo. If not, they should become Olorisha. Because it says that the person is going to need more consecrations to be able to stabilize themselves on earth ultimately. But regardless of which, that Odu says the person has to continue learning, or maybe they're studious already. But if they don't go through further rites, they're gonna become stagnant. They're gonna become frustrated. So initiate to the point where you feel satisfied from an academic standpoint, whether it's in Orisha or even in academics. Maybe you have a pending degree or certification that you haven't pursued yet that you should. So it has all those themes. And, Ogun had to do with academics. He was a technological, guru. So
Another one.
there we go. Trinity, bless you, Papi. What's the Odu of the crowning ceremony? Is that when I find out my mother Orisha and the story of Shango hopping rooms? So Shango hopped rooms from Orisha to Ifa and the Odu Babao Barameji. You find out your mother Orisha in when you actually crown Orisha, because once your Orisha manifests, then we can identify via the Erindi Logun who they created you with, right? That opposing, gender force. So there's that. What was the first part of his question?
Oh, hold on.
Trinity has multifaceted questions. I get lost in them.
It went away. Hang on. Here you go. Shango hopping rooms. But
we did that.
Hold on. Let me put it back on the screen here.
Awesome.
Boom.
What's the Odu of the crowning ceremony? So when it comes to the initiation into Orisha, there's various Odus that compose that process. One of them being yours, that you know. And as far as the Odu that's revealed, that's the one that your actual Orisha reveals via your hand when you go through Ita, right? So there's that.
All right, we got another one.
Oh my gosh.
Well, this is just Chris saying,
Chris, thank you. We sincerely appreciate you guys. Please put a question, though. Put me to work. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And Cuckoo, you have they wrote books for each of these questions. So stick around for the VIP live if you're not a member.
Absolutely.
And we'll have you call in.
Yeah, definitely, please.
Okay, so because they got like 5 different books of questions.
Oh wow. Okay.
All right, so let's go back all the way up. Here we go. This one is from Paul Allen.
Paul, what are your thoughts about practicing 2 different ATRs? It's perfectly fine. It's actually very common. I mean, in Africa, you see people now. I mean, before it was a little more limited, where people would kind of stick to their tribe, their clan, their space. But now it's very common, extremely common. Like, I've initiated people into Ifa that were either Freemasons, even though that's not seen as African as much now. But, people that practice Voodoo, I mean, Palo, very common. It's very common. So I don't see the issue as long as you fulfill with both. Understand, the more things you get involved in, the more obligations and restrictions on your time. So as long as you're aware of that and can handle it responsibly, I mean, that's perfectly fine.
Okay, here we go.
King Osasio, that's a candidate for best name. Is it rare?
I still like 16G though.
Yeah, Hemp Lord's still up there too. Is it rare or uncommon to have 2 godparents, one masculine and one feminine? Short answer is yes. And how big does this play a part in my life?
That's it.
Yep. I mean, it's great. I mean, both of the women that initiated me into Orisha were female, obviously. So, I mean, it's nice to kind of have opposing viewpoints based on the perspective of gender to a certain degree. Not everybody's situation is like that, but if you're blessed to have kind of both of those opposing forces or different identities kind of guiding you, that might provide some advantages. So I think that's awesome, for sure.
Okay. Guess what?
Another one.
Another one.
We're going to have to start paying Khaled. Oh, my gosh. There we go. Oshun Funke. Great name. I'm Awo Baragunya. Child of Oshun, can you speak on Ogunda Masa, which is my sign in Kwanado? Ogunda Masa, anytime in the Kwanado, the old guys used to say, anytime in the Kwanado, if you come with a sign that is Obbe, Odi, or Ogunda, it's a pretty blessed ceremony. And overall, it's Ide, regardless of what your divination said to a certain degree. Ogunda Masa, any of the Ogundas speak about the knife. But it's an Odu that speaks a lot about independence. When we receive Cuchillo, it's not that, bye Godfather. It's not like we say bye to Padrino. But it is time to spread our wings. And Ogunda Masa is the Odu of the eagle for a reason. It says that the person has to leave the nest to a certain degree and start, spreading their wings a little bit more. So it's very important that you learn how to perform at Bo and learn how to perform any of the ceremonies that you want to become autonomous in. For example, my Odu, Irete Suka, spoke of the importance of coordination and directing ceremony. And I'd be lying if I said my life's goal up until the point wasn't to direct Ifas. And I did, and I do. But to be able to get to that point, a lot of study, a lot of mentorship, a lot of guidance. So that's the same thing that Ogunda Masa is saying here, is that there has to be a preparation and introspection of what is it that you want to accomplish, and let's just start studying towards those goals. It's also where Ela was manifested upon the head of the Babalawo, and is also one of the Odus why the Babalawo doesn't come into trance, typically like the other Eleguns do, where you completely lose consciousness. Ours is more on a metaphysical, third, fourth, fifth, seventh dimensional level. It's a little different. It's more influence than anything. So it says that the person has to really become proficient, whether it's consultation, whether it's a bowl, definitely with sacrifice, because it's one of the Odus of the butcher, where pigs first started getting butchered. In direction. I mean, Ogunda Masa can really do whatever they want. So that message that Orumila is giving you with the Guanado is, do whatever you want, just prepare yourself for it,
Joe, I must commend you though, because these questions are coming in like you didn't prep for any of this.
No, God, I was late. I was late. How could I prep?
These are literally just.
I didn't even prep breakfast.
Oh man, yeah, these are literally just coming in, and we got another one.
Oh, awesome! Oh my gosh.
This is from Chris. He finally asked his question,
Another
but he could have just asked it.
You're fabulous, my friend. Have the same sign in Odu and Mano de Orula. Wow, that's awesome. That's rare. Oyekun Tesia or Oyekun Otura. What are your thoughts on this coincidence? There are no coincidences. Oyekun Tesia is one of the Odus where the first 16 Babalawos were initiated on Earth. If you're eligible to become Babalawo, please do, because Odudua is reiterating a message that Orumila gave you initially. Now, what would be really wild if you came Oyekun Tesia and Ifa on top of all of this. That would be wild. But it's saying that, we have to get a move on, with whatever we're going to do. Because in that sign, it's one of the Odus where the sons of Shango first started wearing red cloth when they got initiated into the mysteries of their lineage. So we have to kind of see what are your steps and what are your goals. Because it's an Odu of kingship and regalness. It says, I made you king, now you want to become God. So that Odu says that we have to identify what we want so that we're not always wanting.
I'm just going to leave the screen up here because we got another one.
Oh, my gosh. Not playing. Ogumbi, what you just said about the three Odus, Ogunda, Odi, and Obbe and the knife, does that mean both legs of the Odu, like Irete and Telu?
And shout out to Tanya right under that. She just dropped the 199.
Thank you very much, Tanya. Oh, my gosh. It doesn't refer to that. It usually refers to the first leg, but it doesn't hurt. At the end of the day, no matter what Odu you come with, everything's great. These are just little nuances and things the viejos would say, but there's really nothing to substantiate it, at least to my knowledge right now. Like, I've never seen a pataki that says why Obbe, Odi, and Ogunda, those legs are preferred. I mean, for example, when I did Cuchillo, I came with Idi Batutu or Odi Trupong, right? And I had no idea anything about that Odu, really. But what I would imagine is Obbe, because it loosely translates to knife, and Ogunda Meyi, it's where the knife was confectioned. And, when we talk about Odi, as far as the knife, I'm not really sure why. But it's in the paperwork like that. So you take it with a grain of salt, but it really has no indication on anything, as far as how you're going to do. What's going to have that influence is your study habits and your character.
All right, Tanya did drop that super chat, but she did have a question right after that.
Of course.
So here we go.
Is it true that a child of Oya should be scratched? No. They can be scratched. I've seen the ones that go through it do very well with scratching, but that doesn't mean they have to be scratched. Completely up to you, your means, and organization with your tata. But no, it's not. No Orisha, no child of any Orisha has to be scratched. Just like, technically anybody in Palo doesn't have to receive Hand of Ifa. It would be ideal. But I mean, it's ultimately based on what do you want to do and what are you going to focus on. But Orumila is good for everybody. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Babalao, but the scratching, I mean, if you want to be a palera and you're interested in it, please do. If not, I mean, don't give it a second thought. They'll be fine,
Shout out to Nacho Libre.
Oh, my God. Bendiciones. Holy smokes. We're going to have to tally this one up, Erica. Oh, man, the mortgage has been paid for. No. God bless you guys.
And obviously, let me go right down to, this one is not a super chat, but it's a highlight. Richie,
nice.
He's been a member for 14 months.
Thank you, Richie.
So yeah, he gets first jabs too. So
I'm going to have the hand of Orula soon in the beginning of October. My guardian angel is Obatala. Any advice with that? The child of Obatala, is an interesting process, kind of a dichotomy, because most people look at Obatala and they think that his children are necessarily going to manifest, um, you know, all the calm aspects of Obatala. Like he's old, he's tranquil, all these different things, but it can be the opposite because Obadala wasn't always like that. He had to go through all those stages of, partying and making mistakes and, all this other stuff to be able to get to the point of maturity, and elderliness, basically. So don't be deceived by your guardian Orisha per se. Understand that even though you're not living the stereotypical aspects that are most recognized of them, it doesn't mean that you're not vibrating them. It's just identifying what part of their process we're living at the moment within our own journey, right? And definitely make sure that Guardian Orisha, is identified by Orumila, ideally. And with that, man, enjoy the relationship. Obatala is fabulous.
guys, we got about 10 minutes left.
That was quick.
Yeah. Well, you're late, so that's your fault.
Yes, sir. You're horrible.
We got about 10 minutes left. So if you haven't joined our membership program, we are going live again just for the VIPs. And, it's a smaller room, so your question will most likely get answered. You can call in, too. I'll drop the phone number in there. But let's get some of these last questions out of the way. I'm sorry if we didn't get a chance to answer all of
How many people are on right now?
I can't tell because I have the other window open.
Oh,
so
okay.
somebody say it. Somebody tell us in the chat.
That's awesome.
But I mean, the comments are pretty crazy here.
It's imploding. Yeah, we should just do a 24-hour one of these. Like, what is it? A telethon?
I think the max I can go live is 8 hours.
Really?
Yeah, I think we can go 24 hours on Twitch.
Oh gosh.
But I think YouTube only allows like 8.
Maybe we could do an episode like that, like just be on camera. I mean, that's gonna be exhausting, but a couple bathroom breaks, some lunch, but we might be able to do it. Just go hard.
Someone said, "Oh my God, Phil." What? I'm not being hard on him. I'm just saying he was like
Perky. This is what I deal with off camera. Phil is horrible. He's driving us, man.
Yeah.
Robert, would you ever consider doing classes like IFA 101? Absolutely. Up until this point, we have our IFA coachings. We're trying to organize it a bit more. I mean, the thing is when we look at our demographic and viewership, people are on so many various levels. Like I have godsons and bawalaos right now that are learning how to direct the IFA with me. And then I have people who are like, who is IFA? So it's a little more tedious to be able to construct a curriculum that's going to be that expansive within a time frame. I mean, we've only been doing the podcast for less than 2 years. And things have been pretty explosive here, to be frank with you. I mean, we're at 85,000 right now, right?
Yeah.
Subscribers.
Yeah.
We'll be at 100,000 before the end of the year, Lord willing. I mean,
Let's go.
It's bombastic. So, if we are unable to wait till I write the book and, all these other things that we have in play or in plan, you're more than welcome to do an IFA coaching. Just make sure you're organized with your questions so we can make the most out of that 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. All right. So we got about 84
nice.
people.
That's pretty good for no notice. Good gosh.
I know. We just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, just freestyled it. Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Let me scroll up a little bit more. This one's an interesting question.
Jeremiah, Boruboya, are there any patakis on trans people? Is there any different process of initiating a person
if they're trans?
This is, and here at the channel, we're all about consideration. We want to make sure that everybody feels like they're being considered and acknowledged, right? That regardless of whatever their life path is. Ifat does speak on it. It's in the Odu of Odiotura. The way we've been able to interpret the Odu up until this point is that the initiation is based on the biological birth gender of the person, right? But there are other houses that interpret it differently. So it's really important to identify with a spiritual house that is going to be able to help you understand their interpretation and why they carry through those processes as they do. Now, however one chooses to identify or dress and whatnot, we're not there to necessarily influence that. I mean, if you've taken the steps to be able to basically appear and be the way you believe you are, then, we go along with that. But from a spiritual standpoint, we have to kind of work with the biology that was given up until that point. So I hope that was the best way I was able to explain that. And, thank you for choosing Ifa as your spirituality, for sure.
Okay, let me ask everybody a question here, and I need you guys to respond in the comments. If you're a VIP member, hit 1. If you're a supporter, hit 2. So I want to see. I want to see what we're gonna look like for our next video here. But while they're doing that, last question here, Joe.
Oh wow, Anna, how do I know which path to take after getting Mano de Orula? So the first thing is sitting with your elders, specifically your godfather. Having him provide you all of the information on your Odu that you are eligible for. What does that mean? So, for example, my Odu of Irete Suka has information that is Babalawo specific or Olorisha specific. So me, if someone came with that Odu in their hand of Ifa, what I'd do is I'd cut and paste all the things that they're able to read, which is probably 90% of the Odu to 95% of it. Usually the priesthood specific things represent one story or a line that we actually utilize. So it's actually quite a bit. You're getting the full Odu. At that point, you need to study it. And then that's why you have a godfather or an elder to be able to guide you through this wave of information that may be very foreign to you to help you understand it. Because really, the Babalawo's value is in his interpretive skill. Because I could tell you that there's a story with a monster with 9 heads and, he jumped off a mountain. All these, he's like, what does that mean to me? And based on, ideally our preparation over years, we'll be able to clarify that for you. So that's really how you identify what is your next step. So usually with Hand of Ifa, once you have it, let's say you want to, usually like if people are trying to go the long haul, let's say it's a young man that wants to be a Babalao, I'll tell him, hey, you need your Egungun icon because that's required to be able to, do further steps. At that point, you're kind of doing Orisha and then Ifa. You also need to get the things done from your Hand of Ifa. And then you kind of base your path off of that. Like if you're somebody that just wants to be Olorisha, that step and all the ones previous. If you're just at Hand of Ifa, do you want Egungun or not? All those different things. But all of that should be discussed with your elder because ideally, either they're the ones performing and giving you these things or at least having an influence on it. Like, for example, my godchildren that do Orisha with either, my wife or my mother or any of, these fabulous people within my home, I'm there. I'm kind of overseeing everything to a certain degree. Not that I'm watching them, but I'm talking about my role as a Bawalao, like all of my responsibilities. And then, I'm very involved in the prep up until that point as well. So, it's really a tribe mentality, but you have to speak to your elders.
All right, it's that time, man.
That's
Sorry,
sad.
guys. I know. We're popping here, but we got a stacked day.
Yes, we do.
We got a lot of content we got to record today, so
Yes,
we're going to be
Yes,
going
sir.
live immediately right after this. We're going to take a quick potty break, but
Thank you, Phil,
and rehydrate. What?
Before I call, what is it, OSHA? Where I do a lawsuit. Yeah, I'm tired of this mistreatment.
Don't slip.
We have
man.
witnesses. Love you guys. Have a great week.
All right, we will catch you later.
Take care.